That's the way I look at him at United now. Anyway, I look at him now as a squad player.
Heung-min Son last season was one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
He had a terrible season.
It's awful. He's been so
terrible
bad.
season. Virgil van Dijk's top of this list, I'm afraid.
What are we talking
Virgil van Dijk is top of this list.
Steady,
The player
steady.
that he was supposed to be. What's happening, everyone, and welcome to 888 Sport. On this episode of the playlist, we're going to be talking about the top 5 disappointing players in the Premier League this season. Helping me go through it is none other than Ade Oladipo and Sam Morgan. Right, chaps, the players that I would like you to rank are Virgil van Dijk.
Interesting that you would say that with a big chest like that.
Raheem Sterling, Kieran Tierney, Jadon Sancho, and Heung-min Son. Okay, right, get ranking. Right, in 3, 2, 1, spin your boards.
Oh, come on, peeps. Sorry, Sam, I can't.
How have you put Son bottom?
No, I'm all right.
This
with
is
that.
interesting. It's
I'm
a tough.
comfortable with that.
It's all over the place for all of us.
It's
This
all
is
over.
difficult. It's all over the place for everyone. It's just shambles.
Absolute shambles.
It's an absolute shambles. This is
Absolute
difficult.
shambles.
Yes.
Tierney's probably the
So
closest
can
one.
we start? Because I would actually like your opinions on both of your opinions on this, because I think it's a very complex issue. The reason I put Jadon Sancho bottom is because, firstly, I think he's the worst, to be totally honest. But I just don't think he's at the right club. I don't think he's a Manchester United player. I don't think he's a Liverpool player. I don't think he's a Arsenal or Chelsea player when Chelsea are doing what they should do. I think he's a good footballer who doesn't have the ability or the desire to get to the very top, and therefore I don't think he should be judged in the same way that we judge Sterling, Son, Van Dijk.
He's playing for like a top side in the country.
Absolutely, and he shouldn't be.
All the hype, his first season's okay, and then you'd expected him to blow up this season.
yeah.
Disappointing. That's how I see it. He's been the biggest disappointment. He's come out.
Yeah.
He's even had to have time.
That's it.
He's had to have time out. So you can't. If we were going back to the first season and it was now, you'd be talking about flops, right? The transfer flops. You're not. This is his second season there. There was a lot of hype, as we just said, and he's done nothing. The fact, as I said, he had to have a break.
I think that's kind of what sums it up, Rory. That's probably why he's
I
not
said
the
he's
bottom.
either top or bottom,
Yeah,
and
and
I
I think
can't
that's
work it
why
out.
for me I've got him high, top. I've got him top just because you're right. A lot of people are like, okay, your first season, you're a youngster, you've come from Borussia Dortmund. Forget the price tag. That's not your fault. Let's see what you can do in your second season. And he's done nothing.
started
He's been
quite
dropped
well.
by England. I think everyone forgets that this guy was. You know when people have their projections of what the England squad's going to look like, it was always him on the left. By the way, it was always him. Jadon Sancho.
Nowhere near it now, is
Awful.
he? It's so Saka.
It's so far away.
so
You don't
Saka,
even think of like when Gareth Southgate announced his squad and Sancho's not in it. It's not even a thing.
No.
It's just not in it. It's just,
Yeah, it was no like you didn't see him. Oh no, where's Sancho?
Yeah. You're asking that more about Ben White than you are Jadon Sancho.
Yes.
100%.
Okay, in terms of Jadon Sancho, where he goes, his ability, does he get to the top? Does Jadon Sancho in his career win a Champions League?
No.
Does he?
No, potentially win a Champions League. He could be in the Champions League team.
I don't think he's.
The Champions League team.
No.
I mean, he could be
Could
in
be
and
a
around the
squad.
squad. Yeah, in the way that.
But that's kind of the
Ryan
way.
Bertrand won.
That's the way I look at him at United now. Anyway, I look at him now as a squad player. I think United fans don't look at him.
Does he
and
stay
think,
at United? If United are going to go from
Yes,
strength to strength,
because he
they sign Harry Kane. They're going to launch a serious and sustained bid for the Premier League title in this revolution that Ten Hag is initiating. I thought Jadon Sancho's not part of that revolution, man.
You know who but the problem with United is that I thought for the last 7 years that Martial wasn't. They seem to keep these players.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Martial kind of reminds me of Sancho, someone who just hiked.
Phil Jones
You know,
still on the
yeah,
book.
he's still there. Exactly. Phil
Still
Jones
on
still on the
the
books.
books. Yeah,
Just doesn't
yeah.
deliver.
I just don't think Jadon Sancho
such
is
a disappointment.
If you were to say what club should he be playing for, where do you think Jadon Sancho? What level?
Newcastle.
Yeah.
While they're who they are today, not
Not
who
better-
they'll
he's not
be
better-
tomorrow.
He's not
Because
better
I
than
don't-
St. Maximin, is he?
The light's not on him.
No, he's not better than St.
Not better than
Maximin.
St. Maximin.
No, he's not.
The light's not on him. I think it's too much pressure for him. I think he got away with it.
Everton.
Got away with it. in
Part
Dortmund.
of it, though. That's part of being a top-class player. Part is dealing and almost wanting. You know, some players, they want the spotlight. They want the pressure.
Yeah, give me the ball.
Give me the ball.
the ball. I wanna show
I want to
you.
be booed in
Yeah.
a stadium of 90,000 people. I want to prove people wrong. I want to win silverware in the most hostile of circumstances.
Has the hype been too soon for him though? I mean, he was in Dortmund tearing it up with Haaland.
Yeah.
It's Bundesliga, though, mate.
And the
Everyone-
I know, but then hype comes over to United.
Timo Werner scores goals there, man. Kai Havertz looked
Shall
after
we talk
decent
about
football.
Haaland? Yeah, let's talk about
It's the
Sancho.
anomaly,
Keep
though.
it Sancho. keep it with Sancho. I'm saying that hype come over, and I think he's now. Everyone's looking at him. Walks down the street. Oh, Sancho. Has outside influences now got to him, and he's thought he's made it, and he hasn't put in the work in the summer, and then now been caught out.
Do you
with
know?
it.
So
He's a
So is Sancho
disappointment.
top of
For
this?
me, he's just so
Yeah.
disappointing.
do you see where I'm coming from by just saying that he isn't this guy? We're judging him too harshly because we just like you wouldn't put just like fairly average players. You wouldn't put them on a list where you think that they're underperforming because they're not
You know
very
what it is?
good.
He does some things, and I know United like to dine out on it. There's sometimes he does something, and you're thinking it's there. He does a little trick, and you think, "Whoa, 1 second.
Yeah.
Well, you've got this
Got
then.
him back,
There-
yeah.
There's something there. You know that me and you always talk about that goal against Liverpool.
Yeah.
I know they overplay it a lot, but I saw it and I was like, "Hello." So you can do that.
But in terms of
That's why.
having the ability to do that on a like I've seen Patrick Bamford score some really good goals. Do you know what I mean? Like what sets you apart to be in this conversation is consistency, and he's just not got it, has he?
But it's not been the hype. What I'm saying, it wasn't the hype of Bamford. You mentioned it. There's
Yeah.
no hype around Bamford.
Sharp.
There's hype around Sancho. There has been hype around Sancho. We've just said it. He had that. He had the place in the England squad, and all of a sudden, disappointment.
So okay, I agree.
think he's got
Sancho top. Have we all got Son second?
No.
You're very much a non-conformist.
Yeah, I love
Son is second, isn't he? Son is second.
No, I got Sterling.
Heung-min Son last season was one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
Like he was unplayable last season. Golden boot, right?
Golden boot with Salah.
He had a terrible season.
He's been so
terrible
bad.
season.
He's been so
You
bad.
know why?
The only difference between Chelsea and Tottenham is Harry Kane. You know if Harry Kane swapped clubs, Tottenham would be where Chelsea are, and Chelsea would be where Tottenham
You know the thing about Son as
They've
well.
been
The reason
terrible.
I can understand why you got Sterling there, but this is Son's home. Like he's been there he knows exactly what to do.
are. Sterling's at least at a
Sterling's
new
at
club.
least a new club,
Sterling's
yeah.
had more man. Have you seen that mad stat in a 7-day period at Chelsea? Sterling
More
had
managers.
more managers than he'd had at 7 years
Oh my God.
in Manchester City.
Son, you just kind of like, all right, he's going to get his 24. He always does. Left foot, right
Can't
foot,
believe
energy.
how bad he's been.
Everything's gone wrong.
Son played through the World Cup with an injury. He has his eye hanging out. Basically, he had the injury.
It's not a body injury though, is it? I mean, his groin and his hamstrings.
He
are
can't
okay.
see peripherals, can he? He can't see the players coming, gets tackled. I was saying,
Can't see the ball even right now.
Plays through injuries. Sterling, what excuse has Sterling had?
I think
You're
with
saying
Sterling's
about-
excuse, firstly, do you know what he's been this season, which is very rare for Sterling? Like part of Raheem Sterling's brilliance was availability. Like he was always available, always fit, always ready, always hungry. Been injured a lot.
It's disappointing.
Very disappointing. Very
That's why
disappointing.
he's second in the table.
But Raheem Sterling is also like, I think it's very difficult to judge any Chelsea player because the club is such a shambles.
Been woeful.
He has been
He's
terrible.
been woeful. You know, like we were speaking
Hasn't been as bad
on
as
a previous episode about Mudryk and that player. Just do something.
Mm.
Like you come on, Sterling. You've won like 7 titles, whatever he's won at City. Chelsea are rubbish right now. Give him the ball. Just do something, please. Give me a bit of magic, a bit of hope, a bit of inspiration.
think that's
You cost
who he is,
50
though.
million.
He has been. He did it for Liverpool. He did it for City. They're looking for a goal, and then he was there. It was there.
4 years back to back for City. He got 20 plus goals. Like this guy is a finisher, and all of a
Comes
sudden,
back to my hype.
He's not had a worse season than Heung-min Son, though. From what you would have expected from Son off the back of last year, Raheem Sterling leaving City, coming to Chelsea, there's questions. There's jeopardy. Heung-min Son is at exactly the same club with exactly the same centre-forward
right.
partner.
But then hit one top corner, and we're seeing it.
But
That's
the
what I'm
thing
saying.
about Son, you know how bad it's been? I never ever in my life thought Son would get dropped. Dropped.
But that's because of Richarlison.
That's how bad it is.
That's because of Richarlison.
He's got 1 goal. You're getting dropped for that.
No,
He's
but that's
playing
the
wing-back.
reason why Son's not getting dropped is because Richarlison, as we've established in last week's episode, Richarlison is the worst signing of the summer by a mile.
No, I'm saying Son has been dropped.
Barely.
He's barely been dropped, but even barely. Because it literally it's been Kane, Son for years.
Who's played more games and who got dropped for longest? Sterling has been riding. He's been getting splinters for a
How
long
many goals
time.
has Sterling got? How many goals he got?
He scored a couple under Tuchel. Early in the season, it wasn't looking too bad. He scored a couple under
3
Tuchel.
managers ago.
No,
Is it 3? Could be 4, yeah.
I still think
I
that
still think Son's above Sterling.
So do I.
It's a good argument though, Sam, but I still think Son's above Sterling.
So do I.
Son,
I think Sterling is definitely next.
I think Son's got like 5 goals and 3 of those in 1 game. He's got a hat-trick against Leicester, didn't he?
Got a hat
Sterling
trick. We
got
thought
He
was
done
gonna
that
be-
thing as well. He done that thing as well. So the lips.
Sorry, because he could touch it. He couldn't do it before
That's what
the
he
mask.
couldn't see it.
You're just like, mate.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
So I
you're not
found it.
silencing anyone. You're not silencing anyone. I'm
Like
afraid.
Kane must look at him and think, what are you doing?
Also, imagine if Kane had the off-season that Son's had. Where would they be? Where would they be? Like, if Son's form was replicated in his strike partner.
Son's almost getting away with it because Kane has done his usual
Exactly,
20
that's what I'm
plus.
saying.
Yeah. If Kane had done 5 or 6,
Kane had been injured, and it was Richarlison and Son up front.
oh my god.
You got to remember though, lads. 20 minutes of the game, every Tottenham game, they suddenly go back to a back 9.
Yeah.
He doesn't get to do. He
Hasn't
doesn't get to
affected
do.
Kane's goal scoring record.
That's because he takes pens. He's a pen merchant.
Oh, Arsenal, I just realised that. So as we're talking to him, I just realised.
Son's second, isn't it? Over Sterling.
I've got Son second.
Son second.
But I mean, look,
Democracy
rules. It's
Son
true.
second, Sterling third.
Oh, that's interesting because I got Virgil van Dijk. I'm happy for you to not.
Virgil is third.
I've got
Well,
Virgil third.
I had Virgil first, but then you made it Sancho.
I've got Virgil third. And
Yeah, he's third.
I would love him to be fifth, but Virgil's had, by his standards, an awful season.
Virgil van Dijk's top of this list, I'm afraid.
What are you talking
Virgil van Dijk is top of this list.
Steady,
The player
steady.
that he was supposed to be.
Steady,
We were talking about Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
never.
yeah.
One second, we've already got Sancho.
Sancho's
you can't
been
just,
nailed
no,
in.
You can't just, Sancho's in. You can't just check democracy.
Yeah, democracy.
Democracy.
Hold on.
No.
Hold on, you're
Hosty doesn't overview
My vote
democracy.
counts twice. Mate, Virgil van Dijk is top of this list.
No, he's not.
No
He
way.
is. Virgil van Dijk, people were talking about him. No other player on this list. They're all very good professionals. Some in their career have been world class. Nobody was ever meant to be Hall of Famer. None of these players are Hall of Famers. Maybe Sterling, but none. Sterling could be.
Sterling could be. Son could be as well.
But Virgil van Dijk, people had the audacity to compare him to John Terry,
Rightly
to
so.
Rio
No,
Ferdinand.
rightly
That
so.
would be silly.
Rightly
That's
so.
rightfully
It's embarrassing.
You're
It's
making,
embarrassing.
they're comparing. They got it wrong.
No.
They got it wrong. I put my hand up. They got it wrong. But
There was never a.
but you can compare. You can do
No, but
it.
this is like when people were trying to compare Dele Alli's form one year to Frank Lampard. God, he scores more goals. People were saying it about
not
Lampard.
that
People
bad.
were saying
It's
to me,
not that
he scored
bad.
more
No,
goals at
not
that
that.
particular age than Lampard had scored.
not
Yeah,
that.
yeah, let's see where he is in 6 years.
Liverpool without Virgil.
Oh my god,
are not-
unthinkable.
I mean,
With him.
I would have enjoyed it.
Unthinkable.
What about with him, though?
The last few seasons. If you looked at what shaped them, Alisson and Virgil.
That's it.
That was it.
You remove those two.
Yeah, it was over. And Virgil, yes, to his standards, he has been disappointing. Top of the list, in front of the people we've just
But
spoke
that's
about.
why.
No way.
No, but that's
middle
why they
of the
become
bar.
top.
Middle of the bar.
That's why he would be top, because of what you expect. Because of who he is supposed
No,
to
but you know,
be.
you know what it is, though.
judge
You know
me.
what it is,
100%,
Rory,
Hang on a minute.
not 100%
Rory,
this
Rory,
season.
Rory,
Judge
Rory.
Virgil
You know,
van
but
Dijk,
he's
but-
surrounding pieces. Look, he's been awful. That's why we're even having a debate about him. But I'm sorry, around him, it's Canate 1 week. Then the other week it's Gomez. Then the other week Matip. He has no centre back partnership with him. Trent's been just
What about his own
horrendous.
No protection in
performances?
front either.
Fabinho and Henderson have been all. Literally, it's literally like, can I do this all myself,
What
guys?
about just getting skinned himself or being out of position
What,
himself?
you can't get. John Terry never got skinned.
Very rare.
I'll be.
Very
But this
rare.
is very rare. But this
Well,
is still
no,
very
it's
rare.
Not very rare this season.
Very
rare.
rare. The fact
no
that's
way.
even making headline news. He got a skin.
Yeah,
shows
yeah,
how rare
exactly.
it
Yeah,
is.
that's it. Yeah,
Virgil-
yeah. No, I'll give him that. I'll
Virgil
give him
van
that.
Dijk, for who he's supposed to be, for who we thought he was going to be, is top of this list. We expected him to be one of the very best. We went into this.
He's had an off season. Liverpool have been awful. He's had an off season. He's coming back from the worst injury I've ever seen for a defender.
You say off season inconsistent.
inconsistent. It's
I
true.
wouldn't
It's
say
not
an off
been- It's
season.
not even been as bad
I
as
don't
you
think
think.
an off season for me has mean he's been shocking every single day, and I'm talking Harry Maguire.
Yeah,
Yeah?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's making it sound like he's
Harry
Harry
Maguire.
Maguire.
It is because of the standards that he set.
So he's been inconsistent.
He's been inconsistent.
because he's been
No,
consistent
no,
for literally
he hasn't-
every season.
He
for
hasn't been
Rory,
inconsistent.
Rory.
Inconsistent would suggest that he's also excelled.
Rory, one thing
that's
you
a great
know.
point.
Consistent
That's a
One
great
thing
point.
You're
Rory
suggesting
knows, yeah. Rory,
fluctuation,
you
right?
know
You're
for a
suggesting
fact.
fluctuation.
You know for a fact. You keep talking Rio Ferdinand and John Terry. He keeps on saying that. One thing about both of those centre backs, as good as they are individually, is that they had rocks next to them, consistent rocks.
Yeah.
Would it be Carvalho or Cahill? Like
Yeah.
consistent rocks, and Vidic or Stam. This guy literally is having Gomez and Matip and Canate with him. He's probably thinking, give me something better and you'll see. Gomez.
I think-
Gomez is literally
He's
Leicester
actually,
right
he is
now.
actually almost a one-man band.
a one-man band,
Trent,
literally.
Trent's up the other
Oh
end
my
somewhere, doing something. I don't know.
Do you know what I think is unjust? When I talk to you about Van Dijk, you start talking to me about Gomez and Alexander-Arnold. But when we're talking about other players, when I'm talking about Sterling, you're not talking to me about Aubameyang or Havertz.
We don't have time to go through the Chelsea squad, though, Rory.
I've worked with this guy for years. Because he knows when we talk to Son, we talk to Kane, he tried to avoid it. It was like when you talk to Sterling. That's all he just did there. That's all right with me, son. He just did.
I
I'm
think.
not moving him, Rory.
So where have you got Van Dijk?
Third.
I think
So
third's
where have you
all right.
got Sterling?
Fourth. I've got him fourth.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, look, all right, I'll take
Live with
that.
that. So what about Kieran Tierney? What do you think, Sam?
I had him fourth, but I'd happily put him last because he hasn't had the games to do it. Zinchenko's owned the shirt from the start. There's not been enough games for him to
So
be
he's lost the shirt then.
No, but
That's the thing. He's lost it.
But
Hasn't
he was injured. He's been injured, and then Zinchenko has
You know
done
the
it.
problem is
He's
with
been a good
the problem
deputy.
is with Tierney is that when he comes on now, the levels have just changed for Arsenal. It's like he was good 2 years ago when you got him from Celtic. Now all of a sudden you look at him and think, you're not good enough for this. You're actually not good enough for what we've got right now anymore.
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't got worse. He's just
Okay,
been. He's just
all right,
Tierney.
fair.
Yeah,
He's
but
just Tierney.
sometimes that can happen. Sometimes the team elevates and his performances stay the same. But that means that he's not good enough because he's not a title-winning player.
But Arteta's identified that one, Tierney is not consistent in terms of his injury record. So we were like trying to put makeshift left backs in. He's identified that. He's brought Zinchenko in to do that, and he's done that. And now he's become Robin in this Batman and Robin pairing.
The worst thing is when you see Tierney fill in for Zinchenko, the drop off now is huge.
Yeah, but
it's a shame.
But it's a completely different style. If you look at Zinchenko in the system, Zinchenko, as you know, goes and plays in that Man City centre mid role.
Yeah.
Tierney's not that. Tierney is grab Matesco's bag for life and run down the line with the ball. Do you know what I mean? And that's why it suddenly changes. And so for me, nothing disappointing because when he comes on, I know exactly what he's going to do, and nothing has changed.
Yeah.
So,
I get that.
so do you think he hangs about Arsenal? Do you think there's a place for him in this Arsenal team? This this is a dazzling Arsenal team.
It wouldn't surprise me if he's moved on in the summer to bring in someone that can actually be a full, almost like for like Zinchenko if he's not there. But that's not to say Tierney's a bad player because I actually think he's a great player. Puts his body in. He's that old school
better
defender.
defensively than Zinchenko?
I think so.
No.
I think so.
He's not better at any. There's no attribute of Kieran Tierney that's better than
Defensively, I think he's better.
Really?
Yeah. The difference with Zinchenko is when the ball's plucked out of the air from like 90 yards, he will stop it dead. Tierney will be your typical.
Let it bounce.
Let's send that back up there, mate. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, Rose Ed. That's
Take
it.
me carried.
He is, and I've
So
seen that.
have you got Kieran Tierney bottom?
I've got him bottom as
I'll
well.
put him bottom.
Bottom. I mean, the other four are way and above him, aren't they?
Yeah.
The other four are way and above.
So that concludes it. This is the list that nobody wants to be on. There are going to be some hearts broken among Premier League footballers tonight. If you see your name on this list, remember it's not personal, but your performances have been appalling this season. Jadon Sancho, Heung-min Son, Virgil van Dijk, Raheem Sterling and Kieran Tierney in that order. There we have it. Thank you so much for watching this video. We really do appreciate it. Do you agree with our list? Do you think that Virgil van Dijk has been harshly treated by being on here? Maybe Raheem Sterling has been harshly treated by being on this list. Kieran Tierney, let us know what you think, and please make sure that you give this video a like if you've enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button. We'll be back next week with a really interesting video.
All right, next week, a fun one. The top 5 goalkeepers in the Premier League right now. Ooh. Alisson number 1 for sure. All right, as always, usual stuff. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll see you on the next one.